The night was a shroud. It covered the vast, unforgiving ocean. Imagine the scene, miles from anywhere, just black water stretching to every horizon. The waves moved with a life of their own. They whispered ancient secrets against the hull of any ship brave enough to sail. This was the domain of the unknown, a place where mysteries are born, and where they often remain buried deep. The immensity of it all could make anyone feel small, insignificant, alone. This particular voyage took place in the waters of the Indonesian archipelago, the Straits of Malacca, a busy shipping lane. But even busy lanes have their lonely stretches, especially at night. The air was thick, heavy with tropical heat and humidity. It pressed down on everything. The kind of air that makes you sweat just standing still. It was June 1947, or perhaps February 1948. The dates, like much of this story, are shrouded in fog. Perfect setting for something strange, something unsettling. Into this ominous arena sailed a vessel, the SS Ourang Medan. They were sailing into the heart of one of the greatest maritime mysteries of all time. Suddenly, the silence of the sea lanes was broken. Radio operators on distant ships perked up, their equipment crackled. A faint signal, struggling to be heard. It was an SOS. A distress call, coming from somewhere in the Straits of Malacca. Multiple listening posts picked it up. American, British, Dutch. They strained to decipher the weak, desperate message. Something terrible was happening out there, in the dark, on a lone ship. The urgency was palpable. The first part of the message was horrifying. It was sent in Morse code. Translated, it painted a grim picture. All officers, including captain, are dead. Imagine hearing those words. Across the lonely miles of ocean. The sender continued, lying in chart room and on bridge. The words were stark, chilling, no explanation, just a bald statement of fact. The men who commanded the ship were gone, struck down by an unknown force. The situation was dire. The message didn't stop there. The horror intensified, possibly whole crew dead. The scale of the disaster was growing, not just the officers, everyone, every soul aboard. What could cause such a swift, total catastrophe? The radio operator was clearly in distress. His transmission was erratic, filled with a sense of panic. Among the ships that picked up the desperate call was an American merchant vessel, the Silver Star, commanded by Captain J. Harvey. They were close enough to respond, or at least they hoped they were. Every minute counted. The Silver Star changed course immediately, its engines pushed to their limits. It became a rescue mission, racing towards the last known coordinates of the Ourang Medan. Hope mingled with a growing sense of dread. What would they find? Hours later, under the oppressive tropical sun, they saw it, a ship, adrift, rocking gently on the waves. It matched the description. It had to be the Ourang Medan. But something was wrong, terribly wrong. There were no signs of life, no smoke from its funnel, no crew on deck. It just floated, a ghost ship on a silent sea. An eerie stillness hung over it, as if the vessel itself was holding its breath, waiting. The Silver Star approached cautiously. Its crew lined the rails, watching, searching for any movement. They sounded their horn, shouted across the water, "Ourang Medan, ahoy!" Only the echo answered. The ship remained stubbornly silent, a tomb upon the waves. The boarding party from the Silver Star climbed aboard. Their boots echoed on the eerily quiet deck. The sun beat down mercilessly, but the ship felt cold, an unnatural chill. The silence was the most terrifying part. It was absolute. No hum of engines, no creak of rigging, no human voices, just the vast, empty ocean around them, and this ship, this floating graveyard. They moved cautiously, weapons ready, expecting the worst. Then they found them. The crew, scattered across the decks, and in the ship's superstructure, every single one of them was dead. Their eyes were wide open, staring up at the sky or at some unseen horror. Their faces were contorted, frozen in expressions of unimaginable terror. Mouths agape as if in a silent scream. Arms outstretched, reaching for something or trying to ward something off. It was a truly ghastly sight. The search continued, through the chart room, the bridge, the mess hall, more bodies everywhere. The captain was found on the bridge, dead at his post. The radio operator was slumped over his equipment, his finger still on the telegraph key, as if he died mid-transmission. Section 5. Unseen Killers. The Theory of Toxic Cargo. The men from the Silver Star were deeply disturbed and utterly baffled. What kind of killer leaves no trace? No wounds? No signs of violence, just terrified, dead bodies. The scene was a grotesque puzzle. They searched for clues. Anything to explain the horrific tableau. The condition of the bodies suggested a swift, agonizing end, but the cause remained elusive. It was a mystery that defied easy explanation. A silent, invisible murderer had stalked the decks of the Ourang Medan. One of the first and most enduring theories pointed to the cargo. What if the Ourang Medan was carrying something dangerous, something undeclared, something lethal? Many ships in that era transported hazardous materials, sometimes without proper precautions, or with falsified manifests. If such a cargo had breached its containers, it could have released deadly fumes. A toxic gas spreading silently through the ship, catching the crew unaware. Some accounts of the legend specifically mention potassium cyanide and nitroglycerin, a truly volatile combination. Section 6. Shadows of War. Espionage and secret weapons. The Ourang Medan incident, if it happened in 1947 or 1948, occurred in a world still reeling from World War II. A world of secrets, espionage, and dangerous, lingering technologies. This backdrop has fueled another set of theories, darker, more conspiratorial. Could the fate of the Ourang Medan be tied to the shadowy aftermath of the war? Perhaps the ship was carrying more than just mundane cargo. Perhaps it was involved in something clandestine, something illicit. One particularly sinister theory links the Ourang Medan to Unit 731. This was the infamous Japanese Imperial Army unit responsible for horrific biological and chemical warfare experiments during the war. After Japan's surrender, what happened to their research? Their stockpiles of deadly agents? Some speculate that certain parties attempted to smuggle these materials out of Japan or to new interested buyers, nerve agents. Section 7. Beyond Arcane Supernatural Whispers. When logical explanations fall short, human nature often turns to the unknown, the supernatural. The sea, after all, is a place of profound mystery. A realm of ancient myths and legends. Sailors have always told tales of ghost ships, cursed voyages, and terrifying encounters with forces beyond human understanding. Could the SS Ourang Medan be one of these stories? A case where the truth is stranger and more terrifying than any fiction. The expressions on the faces of the dead crew. This is a key element that fuels supernatural theories. They weren't just in pain, they were frozen in abject terror, pointing, staring, as if they had witnessed something truly horrifying, something that wasn't of this world. Section 8. The Vanishing Act, a ship erased from history. The story of the Ourang Medan takes another bizarre turn. After discovering the horrific scene, the crew of the Silver Star made a decision. They would try to tow the stricken vessel to a nearby port. It seemed their logical thing to do, to bring the ship in, to allow for a proper investigation, to perhaps find some answers to this horrifying puzzle. They attached a tow line, prepared to take the ghost ship under their wing. But the Ourang Medan had other plans. Suddenly, as they were about to begin the tow, smoke began to billow from the Ourang Medan's holds, specifically from hold number 4. A fire had broken out, spreading rapidly. The boarding party still on board had to scramble for their lives. They barely made it back to the Silver Star before disaster struck. A violent explosion ripped through the Ourang Medan. The ship shuddered, broke apart, and then it sank. Section 9. The lingering question, truth or terrifying tale. Decades have passed since the alleged events aboard the SS Ourang Medan, yet the story endures. It's whispered in dockside bars, retold in books on maritime mysteries, and debated endlessly online. It has become a classic ghost ship legend, a chilling tale of unexplained death on the high seas, the kind of story that sticks with you long after you've heard it. It taps into our deepest fears of the unknown and the terrifying power of the ocean. Is it all just a meticulously crafted hoax? A sailor's yarn, embellished and expanded over time? This is a strong possibility. The lack of official records is a huge red flag. The story first appeared in print in the 1950s. In publications known for sensational, sometimes fictionalized accounts, perhaps it was born from a fragment of a real incident or entirely from someone's imagination. Sea stories have a way of growing with each telling, becoming more dramatic.